Hi. So this is one of many videos that I have done, and if this is something you're interested in, please give my page a like and a follow and go and see the other videos that I've done. So today I am going to be talking about metaphysical ailments, issues. I think it's something that's become so much more profound nowadays because we're so quick to look at what the surface symptoms are and try and resolve them. And while, yes, we sometimes try and figure out what we think is the root cause, that's often only based on our physical diseases, our ailments, our symptoms. So today I'm going to be talking about back problems, specifically lower back problems. And while some of you may be like, yeah, I've got a sore back, I've always had a sore back, the doctor says it's poor posture, or, it's a trapped nerve, sciatic nerve, or I've pulled something, or whatever that is, it then justifies your expectations of what is actually going on with the pain and the suffering that you're facing. And it's not. A lot of the time when it comes to back problems, specifically lower back, which I'm talking about today, it's about finances, it's about control or a lack of control. And when we look at the metaphysical, this is attributed to this position. So lower back pain, generalized or categorized under boundaries or setting of boundaries or pushing people away or having a load of something that makes you feel heavy, like you're being compressed, results in lower back pain. Quite often my clients come to me and at some point they will have lower back pain, and I ask them very bluntly, what's your financial burden? And a lot of them are like, oh, don't have financial burden, like I'm good, I'm in a good space, because instantly our brain goes, oh, we are successful or we earn money and we're not having to worry about the bills or anything. But I don't just necessarily mean that in that sense. The financial burden can be the fact that you feel that you are the breadwinner, or you feel like you're the one that's always having to take care of all the pennies and the pounds and sort out all the transactions and the direct debits and the standing orders and have full autonomy over the finances within your world, within your household, regardless if you have a partner or you have someone that supports you in some way, shape or form. This often relates back to lower back pain. There's another thing that kind of comes across, especially with lower back pain, and it's about the lack of control, the lack of a situation that would have happened long before you had registered that it was going to cause you lower back pain. And what tends to happen from that is we go into a freeze mode. We go into that freeze, fight or flight. We go into freeze. We're like, oh no. And we push back because we feel that we don't have the lack of control in our internal world. So we try and seek it in our external world. And what tends to happen is it comes from a space when you were younger where you weren't given the freedom to choose. That power was taken away from you, whether you gave it away not knowing or whether you made a choice and it was rebuffed. And we tend to hold that in our lower backs as well. And this is the interesting thing about metaphysical. We don't recognize that sometimes the pain and suffering that we're facing has actually come from an emotional dysregulation that we weren't aware of. So when we talk about lower back pain emotionally, we talk about anger or lack of control or fear or panic or sometimes guilt. And what happens is we either pull back from that and shy away from it, or we overcompensate it in the external world. So we do more than what we should be. So if I give you an example that might really resonate with you, it might be that you have the financial burden. Let's look at this example first. So you have this financial burden where you just feel like you have all the spinning plates. Now, it might not be that you are in financial difficulty, so please don't confuse it with this. But the financial burden may be that you have everything sort of placed on you responsibility-wise. And what you will do is you will then overcompensate. This is the example we're going to use. So you'll make sure that externally everything else runs smoothly. The business runs really well. You know, the finances within the business are being spent in the most profound and beneficial way. Your P&Ls, your margins, the things like that, they're exceptional. When it comes to insurances and, you know, direct debits, you're making sure that you're searching out the right best deals or, you know, money value or whatever it is in order for the external to look beautiful. But internally, you may not have a grip on your personal finances, which means that anything that comes in, you can't wait to spend it. Or you don't feel safe to have that extra money because it's something you've never had, because the financial burden has always been to show up as overcompensating externally, not internally. Or you may have pulled back from it. So it may be that the financial burden is then on you because you aren't doing anything. So it may be that money comes in and you spend it just as quick. So you're constantly on the chase, the hustle. You're constantly trying to find new ways to bring more money in, even though you know you're just going to spend it, or you're going to frivolously make decisions that aren't going to serve you. If this is hitting home, I see you, I hear you, and I completely empathize with you. Because until which time we start understanding why the emotional pulls and strings were attached to this, the physical disease, ailments, injuries, pain, suffering are only going to continue. And this is why I do what I do, because I bring it back to the root cause, not just serve the symptoms. You may think that you just have a sore back because you've not been sitting correctly, but the body keeps score. And I know its secrets, and I help you unpack what happened.